I slammed into a tree, rolled 4 times, landed back on the wheels. Before I got into automotive with JDM cars, I was a huge truck girl. I hated cars, did not want a car. Getting a car was a punishment to me. So I was raised up in, North Georgia, country girl, hunting, fishing. That was my thing. So my very first vehicle, we went to the Georgia Carolina auction. My parents didn't come from much, so we didn't really have a big budget. We're in the parking lot, just looking around, trying to find what I'd like. I found a 91 Toyota SR5 V6 4-wheel drive. It's cream color, had some rough around the edges, but that's what I like, so I could make it my own. So we go into the auction, and it's me, my mom, and my dad. My dad's a redneck, like 100%, and my mom's 100% Filipino. So we're sitting there, and I see the truck. They're like pushing the truck in. I'm like, oh God, here's my truck. I was like, here we go. So it was just basically me and this other fella. He was a Hispanic man, and we're just going back and forth. I could have easily got the truck for $1,500, but my mom gave this man this evil eye because he knew I wanted this truck. And we were about like at $1,800, and my mom looked at him, and he looked back at my mom, and the man just literally stopped bidding at $2,400, and we left an offer at $25. And right then and there, it was sold. So at the time, with auctions, you don't know what's wrong with it, what's right with it. You only see what it looks like then and there because you can't crank them up, out in the lot. We pull it out, we do all the paperwork, everything. So we got the truck for $2,500. It probably had, I think if I'm right, it had about 240,000 miles on it. Sounds about right, 91. But those trucks last so long. It's a Yoda, especially with the SR5s. This was before the Tacomas and the Tundras and stuff like that. So we get it out, I drive it, we drive it home, and then I start hearing this slight tick. I was like, oh Lord, here we go. So me and my dad pull over. It wasn't the racetrack at the time. It was like some little makeshift gas station. Put a little quart of oil in it, top it off, take it home. I drive it for a few days. I'm like, Daddy, it's getting worse. He's like, so he starts looking for, reman motors and stuff for it. I start driving it, and then I just let it sit. So I had to ride the school bus for a while. We finally found a motor. It was a reman motor. I think we got the motor for $2,500, so the value of the truck. Awesome sauce. Me and my dad, we did the whole motor swap ourselves in the backyard underneath the garage. We got brand new front axle, rear drums, wheels and tires, brake pads, new radiator, the whole yard when it comes to redoing the motor. But the interior of this thing was beautiful. It was blue. It's nice blue full interior, the 90s style. It had a freaking sunroof, that worked, power windows. I was in love with this thing. This was my baby child. So about a month of me and him working on this truck. I was Daddy's little girl. So this was our project. So we finally get it all put together. Drive like a dream. I called it my cream job because it was like this white creamy color. It used to have a pinstripe on it from factory, but of course it worn off over time. We had a lift on it too, big old mud tires, good for the truck. Had steely looking wheels on it. So I was like head over heels on this truck, and it was 4-wheel drive. I don't know why my mom and dad bought me a 4-wheel drive truck, because they knew I was going to get some stuff into it. But like right below the road, it was like 5 minutes from our house. We had this huge mud pit. And they even had like 2 lanes. So like it was like drag racing, but for trucks, for off-roading. So we'd always go down there every weekend. I'd go down there, just tear up the mud. It was a huge, huge mud hole. So I let my dad go take it out one time. So how they build these holes, they basically take an excavator in there and they dig it out. So there's like big walls on areas, but then there's a good bank so you can go into it. So my dad takes it out. He's just ripping and going, and I'm just in the passenger seat. And all of a sudden, he starts going to the wall and like slams on the brake. And we're literally inches from this wall. I was like, Dad, take it back in. I was like, you're not driving Cream Job no more after this. So we take it back in, wash it all up. Still running fine. Still a dream. Purring like a kitten, 2 weeks later, having the truck beautifully done. We're at a Filipino party. We're cooking catfish on the grill and everything. And then 2 of my buddies was with us. And we just got like a hair up our butt, and we were like, hey, let's go roller skating at the roller ring. So we jump in the truck, we're excited, we're heading to the house, and the day before it had rained really, really bad. And I live off a dirt road. We're jamming, having the time of our life. None of us had seatbelts on, of course. We're 16, you know, just living life. And I hit the dirt road and I was just like, all right, let's go, you know? And this was before I knew about drifting anything, you know? I knew how to like slide in mud, but that was about it. So we're going down this dirt road and there's this one turn on this road that's like a good straight and then it goes, you know, it's like an uphill turn. So we're flying. Remember, it just rained the day before. So there's hard ruts in this dirt road. And I'm going around this turn. Here goes the tail end of the daggone cream job. I'm trying to counter steer and I almost had it, but by the time I was in this turn, my front right tire went down into a ditch. And when that happened, it pulled the whole front truck forward. I slammed into a tree, rolled 4 times, landed back on the wheels, and everyone was fine, you know, like everything was good. No one had seatbelts on, like I said, but all I remember when we were rolling, I just had my hands on the sunroof and I just see the glass like breaking underneath my hands. And I look at the passengers and they're just, cause you know, these trucks, they only have the fold down seats like this, not like the Rangers where they fold from the side. So I kind of look back and all I see is my 2 guy friends and they're just like slow motion, just going with it. And I'm like, oh God, I was like, oh gosh. But I didn't even think about them. All I thought was about my cream job. I get out of the truck and I look at it. The whole roof is just smashed in. The whole front side and the battery smashed in. Tailgate twisted. Frame was probably done too. And all I did was scream. All I did was like, oh my God, you know, just belted out this loud scream because I was devastated. Remember, I only had the truck for 2 weeks after doing all this work to it. And then my dad is he's a very stern white gentleman. And we just put all this money, or he just put all this money into it. The messed up part is, so my dad's a firefighter too. So I get on the phone. I was like, hey Dad, I just got in a real bad accident. I'm on the dirt road close to the house. And my phone dies. Right after I say this. So my dad, he don't know if I'm hurt, like if someone else in the truck's hurt, if the car's on fire or truck's on fire. So he calls first responder, station 1. So there's like 4 fire trucks, 2 ambulances, like all on this one little dirt road. And of course we're all right. Literally, we all walked away. I just had a little scratch and it was an H on my arm. Everything was fine. But my buddy, when this was all happening, rewinding, when we were rolling, all of a sudden like when we stopped, the truck stopped, he's like, oh my God, my head's bleeding. Because he feels he had an afro. He's like, my head's bleeding. I'm like, no, James, that's just the Red Bull you had in your hand. It was like all over his face and stuff. So my mom and dad finally get there. And my mom's yelling at me, I can't believe you do this. What you thinking? You know, she's Filipino. And then the officers were getting so mad at my mom. They almost arrested my mom for being so stern and like in these officer faces. So my dad had to go put her in the truck because we were like 2 minutes from the house, you know, so he had to take her back home. And we loaded the truck up. It was a very, very, very sad day for me. The daggum story that I had to deal with my dad till this day about this truck, it still will haunt me. But my punishment for wrecking this truck was I was going to get a car. My mom was like, we're not buying you a truck no more. You're gonna get this car. It's gonna be a little 4-cylinder or 2, like just a Honda of some sort. So I was like, no. I was like, I'll ride the school bus. I rode the school bus. And remember, when I wrecked this truck, the truck was still running. It was still going, motor was still going, it was still a ticking. But when we went to go check it out the salvage yard, because our neighbor had a towing company, it had impacted the battery, so we couldn't re-crank it back up. But the insurance company gave us $5,500 for this truck. I was like, I don't know where is the value of this thing, but I think it's because we still had the receipts from buying this motor and everything recently. So the insurance company, thank God, you know, helped us out with a little bit. So about 4 months later, my mom finally gave up and she we got a Danger Ranger, and that was my next truck. So that was to continue on for my journey with having trucks and living my country life.
We'd like to thank the Ticket Clinic for supporting this month of VINwiki Car Stories. If you get a ticket, no matter where it is, it can have huge impacts on your driver's license, your points, and your insurance. So be sure to call the Ticket Clinic next time you get a ticket anywhere in the country. They're a national law firm with representatives everywhere, and they can help you fight a ticket no matter where it happens. It's very important to save a lot of long-term costs to deal with it the right way now. So be sure to contact them at the link in the description below and thank them for their support of VINwiki.